Hi everyone, I recently started making a video about these puppies, and when I was all done shooting everything and started editing everything, then I realized that the first half was missing. So here's the first half again, kind of. This is the full set of the HOLBEIN Artists Colored Pencils. It's a Japanese brand. They are advertised as fine, smooth colored leads, rich colors made with light, fast pigments. And it's a set of 150. That's all the colors in the line. So we have 3 layers here. A layer of beautiful bright colors. A layer of more earthy colors and the grays and a few metallic ones. We also have 2 whites. There's a regular white and a soft white, which doesn't describe the color but rather how much softer it is. And to differentiate both of them, you can actually see the end. The soft white is the only one that has a flat end. All the others are rounded. And the last layer is a layer of all pastels. And you see here you also have nice skin tone colors, which you can use with those also for darker skin. And you have some neon colors. So most of them are 3 stars for the light fastness, which is very nice. A lot of them are 2 stars. And basically the neon colors are not light fast, which is absolutely normal. I don't think, yeah, it doesn't even give any stars. So there it is. You can compare them with as far as the size, the width. You know, they look very much like the polychromos, but there are a blend of wax and oil, so they're kind of in their own little category. So I made a color chart for those 3 layers, and you can tell that they are really bright. They're so creamy. I didn't really have to go over the swatches over and over again. It's a very nice selection of all the different colors, I think. At first I thought, oh, I wish there were lighter versions of these, but then I forgot that the last layer was pastels, which basically has all the lighter colors. The earth tones, again with a nice selection of grays here, with 6 warm grays and 6 cool grays, and we have a couple of blacks, a black and a lamp black, and we have the 2 whites, but you can't really tell. I think they're the same color. A lot of greens also, and then here we have the pastels that are very pretty. So when you think about it, if you compare them with Prismacolor, for instance, because they have the same amount of colors, it's very similar. Even though you don't really realize that Prismacolor has pastel colors, it's not necessarily that they are pastel colors. It's just that they are sorted different ways in the box. You have all the yellows together, and then all the reds together, all the pinks and all that stuff. These would have been placed next to these in the box when you received it. So you could just rearrange your Prismacolors in this same way and have a very similar selection. One of the other things I wanted to see that I filmed, the video was not missing, but somehow it ended up ultra bright, and I think that's the problem sometimes with touch screens on cameras, is that I must have bumped the ISO button by mistake and made it a lot brighter. I didn't realize it till it was time to edit my video, but anyway, I decided to chop that part from the rest of the video because it was so bright. Even with editing, I was not able to show it. So this is a homemade sketchbook made with a Stonehenge paper. Now the problem with those sketchbooks is that often one side would be the flip side of the paper, and the other side would be the nice smooth side of the paper. So here I've got the flip side of the paper. So when I did my testing, you can tell that it's not very smooth because you see all those little white dots. But regardless, I really wanted to try different things. So here I tried just with one color to make a little ball in the shadow. And it was very easy and very fast to make because the pencil is so soft and the pigment covers the paper very fast. So that worked very well. Here I wanted to do the highlights with the soft white, which worked very nicely. It blended. Of course, it ended up turning the highlights into pink because it really blended with the red. For this one, I wanted to use the HOLBEIN Colored Pencil blender with it. It's called Melts. I wanted to see how well it worked, so I got one of those. I'm not quite sure what it's made with. So here you have the list of ingredients, in case you're curious. It says it's a water-based solvent, I guess. I'm not sure, but it worked pretty well. Of course, I don't think it did the best job because of this side of the paper here. But it really blended everything smoothly, very easily. And then I just tried to blend the colors together. I get a really nice green, just taking these this yellow and this blue together. I did my test on black paper. I was very happy to see how opaque those colors are. So I put the two whites here. You can see the soft white is a lot whiter because it's super soft. And like for yellow or red, it's amazingly opaque considering. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm gonna have to try some drawings on black paper. And here's the little drawing that I did to test them out. And I have a demo coming up right now. So I'm really sorry this part of the video was kind of washed out as well. I did my best to try to edit it with some colors, but you'll see that the colors are so bright anyway that you can see pretty well. So every time I get a new set of anything, I always make a color chart just because it gives me a more accurate idea of what all those colors look like on paper rather than looking at the barrel of the pencils. And then I can find them much easier because I keep them all in the same order in the box. So it's a real time saver for me. So I found all the colors that I needed for the pumpkin, and I started from the lightest orange, which was more of a yellowish orange. And I built up the layers, adding darker and darker and brighter oranges, and trying to shape the pumpkin. I was super happy to see how easy it is to apply all those colors, how saturated they are. It really doesn't take much time to get those really bright colors. I didn't need to use very many layers for that. Once I had a good amount of pigments on the paper, I took my little bottle of Melts, the pencil blender, and I put a few drops in a palette. A little bit really goes a long way, so just a few drops for now was enough for me to blend all those colors together, and right away they seem to get even brighter. So this blender is kind of cool because first you need to only use a little bit for it to work. But if you wanted to give it a watercolor effect, just use a little bit more and it's gonna blend and dilute the pigments even more, and it's gonna look more transparent like watercolor. This was not what I wanted to do for this project, so I only added a little bit of it and blended my colors together. Also, the neat thing with this HOLBEIN Colored Pencil blender is that sometimes when you use mineral spirits, you can see it goes through your page. This one I checked and it was all dry on the other side. Before I added more layers to the pumpkin, I wanted to make sure it was dry, so I started working on the leaf next to it. And again, I started with the lightest greens and added darker ones. And once I thought the pumpkin was dry, then I started adding more layers to it. I started with the highlights, so I used the whites. I went right away with the soft white, and it works very nicely over the colors. It's very soft. And then I basically worked to deepen the values I did darker oranges and lighter ones, and the details. This pumpkin has some green lines in the creases, so I did that. And then once I was done, then I put a little bit of grass at the bottom. I also diluted it with melts, and then I continued working on the leaves. Halfway through, I decided to change my composition a bit. I removed some leaves because I hadn't really put my pumpkin at the right spot on the page to start with. So I kind of shrank the stalk, and then I put less leaves, which turned out fine. Again, once I did a good amount of pigments on the leaves, I used melts to blend everything together, and once that was dry, I started working more on the values to make everything pop. I'm pretty pleased with the result, considering I didn't spend a lot of time working on it. I think the colors look nice and bright. This was more of a sketch type thing. I didn't want to make it too elaborate, so all considered, I think it looks pretty good. And then I was trying to figure out what those pencils remind me of. So I took out a color soft pencil and I tried it out, and it's not quite the same thing. The color soft, they're very soft, but in a dry way. And then I just tried a Prismacolor Premier, and then it's very similar to those, really. So now the bottom line, do I like them? Oh yes, I like them very much. Do I think it's worth the money? I must tell you that these cost a lot of money. They're very expensive pencils. I think for now, it's too early for me to tell because it's my very first time trying them out. I'm gonna have to play with them more and play with other pencils also to compare. But I wouldn't buy them just for coloring in coloring books unless you have an unlimited amount of money that you don't know what to do with. They would work very well in coloring books, I'm sure, but I wouldn't spend that much money for that. You can find them on Dick Blick, for instance, and they are also available open stock. So if you need to replace some individual colors, you can do so instead of buying another set. So that's it for my little review. I hope you liked it, and if you do have these, let me know what you think of them. There's not that many videos about them, I think, on YouTube yet. So I'd be very interested in what you think and if they remind you of a particular brand, and if they're your favorite or if you hate them. So I'll see you soon. Thank you all for stopping by. Please remember to leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and I'll see you soon with another one. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye bye.